love when we can find a notion that makes doing, well, patchwork easier. 4 patches are a very common block in many quilts. And usually when they're a standard size, well, it's no problem. But what if it's an unusual size? The Turbo 4-Patch Creative Grid tool by Deb Heatherly is an incredible difference maker notion. Sometimes when we find a tool, it can only make 1 or 2 sizes. This little powerhouse makes 16 different 4 patches, perfect every time, with 16 different sizes. Everything from the smallest 4 patch that is a 1/2 inch, if you can even imagine that, all the way up to 4.5 and everything in between. So today's video is to show you how to make a 4 patch using this tool, and it's a lot of fun. Here's just a couple of the sizes, only 4, again, 16 different sizes. This is a great scrap buster as well. So let's see, how do we do this? Let's just put this aside. And the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're just gonna grab our 2 fabrics that we want to have our 4 patch. We place them right side together and we sew with a 1/4 inch on both sides. And I'm sewing, I went ahead and sewed with a blue thread so you could see what I'm doing. Normally I would of course be sewing probably with a white or light gray, but I wanted you to see the next step. In this instance, I decided that I want to go ahead and have 2-inch finished 4 patch. So here's how we look at our tool. We have lines and we have the actual finished size on all 4 sides. All 4 sides of this present an opportunity for you. 4 sizes per side, 4 times 4 is 16. That's why this little powerhouse here can do all of that. If I know I want to have a 2-inch finished 4 patch, then I'll take that solid line that says 2-inch finished, place it directly over where I've sewn. I'm going to use the other lines that are on my tool so I can try to make a nice 90-degree corner. See how I have this is covering up where I had stitched, and I just kind of scoot that tool down so I have something to just kind of confirm I'm square with this. Now I'll make a cut. Guess what? We flip this around and repeat that process where once again I'm going to scoot that over, covering up where I've sewn, square up here, and trim. Okay. Now, because we want to have interlocking seams, I'm going to do what comes natural to quilters. Press to the dark. Always a great option, right? Go ahead and press to the dark. And you can imagine, I just have a small section, I just have a small rectangle, but if you had a longer strip, think of how many 4 patch units you're going to be able to create out of what we're doing here. Once we have these pressed to the dark, we'll have opposites. If you feel the need to pin, and if I had a longer strip, I certainly would pin. Maybe just pin here. And now we're going to sew right here. Now I've done that ahead of time where we're just sewing here. Once we have that, repeat the process. Here's our 2-inch finished. Placing that on there, I'm just going to scoot that down so I have some kind of guidance to help me make sure I'm kind of not canted wrong. There we go. That's a really good spot. Here and here. Once again. Look at that. Perfect 4 patch units. Now I'm just going to warm up that seam. Press to the side. Do the same with the next one. And you can imagine with a longer strip, you just keep going. Do the same thing. Look at that. Isn't that so fantastic? So later on, right, look what happens. I also get interlocking seams. If you're consistent about the direction you press that seam in, I press them the same. Once you do that rotation, you're going to have interlocking seams. So, and now we can do a cute checkerboard, maybe at the top of bottom of the quilt, maybe the whole outer border. So that was just one size. So you can see how fun this is. This one happens to be, let's do the biggest one. We'll do a 4.5. Same thing. I just have to find my spot on my tool and say, there we are, 4.5 inch finished. Lay this on my line, square up, cut, rotate, same. What a fun way to use up your scraps, to make 4-patch so easy, so fun. I think one of the things I really enjoy about this is we could make, as I said, 4-patch units that are kind of finishing at 2, finishing at 4. But these unusual sizes, there's some math going on there. We don't need to be doing that. Our goal in the sewing room is to obviously have a lot of fun, right? And I love that they take kind of the guesswork out of it. All we need to do is decide on what size we want the finished size to be of a 4-patch, and then the rest they just simply take care of. How cute is that? And all the sizes in between. So I know this one is going to absolutely be added to my stash of kind of my sewing notions, because I do have that stash at home, and I don't always want to have a 4-patch be just a standard 2, 4, 6, or 8 or whatever size, right? I love that I can have these very unusual sizes, or a standard size and 16 sizes in between. Incredible. So Deb Heatherly, you've done it again. We see so many of your names on Creative Grid tools, and we are so grateful for everything you've done for Creative Grid and making quilting just that much easier and more fun. So there you have it, the Turbo 4-patch. There's no more fun way, more efficient way to be able to make perfect 4-patch units every single time. Thanks for giving me a few minutes of your day.